So for me, being on the right side of the market is absolutely important. Bitcoin dominance. We're going to focus on dominance is king. I talk a lot about this, you know, but this video will make sure you understand it all with a real life example, showing you how it works with exchanges and understanding the relationship between Bitcoin Satoshis and the USD price. I'm going to show you exactly how this fully works. Massive psychological alpha at the end of this video, and we're going to buy some Polkadot in Bitcoin and to show you how to profit when those Satoshis go up. Disclaimer, you don't have to buy in just Bitcoin. I will explain. As you know, I have spoken about dominance before. This thumbnail will help you. This is an indicator created by Jamie. That is basically my mind map of what I do, but we've made it into a pane at the start of any chart at the top to make it easier for you to digest. It's very, very straightforward, so make sure you watch that video. Link is below, but this video should piece together all the misunderstandings of that video and put it all together. So the reason why I have done this video is because I get asked a lot of questions, even today, 2023, about dominance, and I want to kind of make it very, very clear for you. I'm going to explain what dominance is as a whole. I'm going to explain how prices of every single cryptocurrency asset is actually Bitcoin, oddly, and why you should be paying attention to it. Regardless of what you buy in, you need to understand what dominance is doing to cash in for more Bitcoin. So throughout this video, I'm basically going to teach you how to grow your Bitcoin, how to see your wealth accumulation grow with Bitcoin by buying at the right times and selling at the right times into Bitcoin or into something else if you so wish to. But we are going to focus mainly on the Bitcoin dominance here because as an analyst of a tool, of a whole thing, it's really important that you understand what it's doing and why you maybe should be holding off on altcoins or maybe buying altcoins. Just before we jump into the screen, just to let you know, Patreon link below. Every Friday I do dominance analysis. If you want more dominance stuff, I know I don't do it much on my YouTube channel, but I do tweet about it sometimes. However, dedicated videos on Friday. So let's jump in. There's a lot to unpack here. So the first thing that I need to do is actually show you what on earth Bitcoin dominance is and why it's got this number. It is everything against Bitcoin. So you can see on the screen here how a really, really high dominance in the past was because dominance of Bitcoin was so big and vast because there's no altcoins, right? There was only a couple of altcoins. There was XRP, there was Litecoin, there was Ethereum at the early days, Peercoin, Dash, which was obviously something else back in the day, Dogecoin, etc., right? Wasn't many. You can see that here on the screen. You can see a lot of them at 0%, right? And then obviously the ICO boom happened and wow, we dropped quite significantly all the way down to 39% roughly, okay? This was due to the rise of the ICO boom, Ethereum, etc. So when you look at the fact of over time we are slowly declining, it's because there's more and more altcoins, right? So that's why it's important. When Bitcoin is powerful, it hurts. When Bitcoin is weak against altcoins, it's great for altcoins and your value appreciation, right? So that's the basics of it. Where we are currently right now, you can see the growth and the network effect growth essentially and the holding of Ethereum versus Bitcoin in its dominance kind of situation. But you've also got other altcoins. XRP is worth more now. BNB, Tether, all of the exchange coins, right? So it all makes sense, right, in terms of stable currencies, combining it all together and what happens. So that's the basics of it, right? Understanding what dominance is. Another thing that does confuse people is that is actually the price of your altcoins. Let me explain. I've talked about this before and it does bamboozle people. So this, right, is the price of your altcoin. But it's divided into how many Satoshis they're worth. So let me just use BNB as an example. 326, which is actually 0.0113 BTC in Satoshi value. So how do I know this? If you go on to this, if you copy it, and you find out the stuff, that's in Great British Pounds. If I change this to the US dollar, 326. I know. So that should help you explain and wonder why it works in such a way it does. So everything that you're looking at is not in price in USD, it's actually priced in dollars. That number is what you're looking for, right? This is why some things run faster than others. This is why some things grow when Bitcoin grows. And sometimes you do not notice the pain because you're not looking at it. You're only looking at the USD pairs. Make sure you write that bit down because that is hugely important. You will see how to calculate all this in a second. But why do you need to pay attention to this? Well, this is the whole point. You might be sitting on a load of altcoins that is worth more in BTC during a certain time period than when it was in the past. Hugely important. How do we know this? It's called the BTC pair. And you can find these everywhere. So ADA, BTC. You got AVAX, you got everything. Pretty much everything you can look at it. It's hugely important. So as I've said before, the price of ADA currently is 1,449 Satoshis, which equals to current price of basically 41 cents. So the fundamentals of this is simple. You need to know what to look for, and to pay attention to this, it's hugely important because when the dominance is dropping, alt season is happening. We will talk about the fundamentals of it in a second, so don't just skip ahead just yet. Let me explain. Let's talk about the fundamentals of investing. You buy low and you sell high, right? That's it. That is it. Nothing to gloss over. There is no other added thing to it. You need to buy low and sell much higher. Regardless of your circumstance, you need to make profit. Always take profit. Now, this is where it's important. Right now, currently, as you can see with this example on Cardano, they're low, right? They're low. So you can see in previous seasons of bull markets, what happens to these altcoins? They run. There's a lot of trend-based elements to this, but how do you make money? Well, regardless of what you're buying, you need to know how many Satoshis you bought it. Now, at the end of this video, I want to show you a really good tool that's free to use to calculate this for you for free. It's great. It's perfect. However, before we jump that far ahead, you need to understand the fact of when to take profit. And this is where we're going to get into the rules of dominance. When you have the dominance chart on your screen, and you can see at the top there the indicator that I use, this is the one that was created for me. And when it's high, it is bad. However, when it is high, it means opportunity. Bad, certain creators say it's bad because they're a bit scared of buying. When it's low, you should be taking profit. So high equals opportunity, low equals take profit, right? Let me explain on this screen. When we are looking at BTC dominance as a whole, when it's higher, your Satoshi values of everything or most things will be at its lowest because dominance of Bitcoin is overcrowding and smashing every single altcoin. When it is low, therefore, the opposite has happened. Altcoins are more dominant versus Bitcoin because the prices have gone up more than it. Let me show you some examples. So if we go back and look at like these sort of peaks in 2021, May, September, and January, you're going to notice something very, very clear in a lot of altcoins. They're much higher. As you can see, November time, even that May time of Polkadot. Dogecoin is another good example where it went up really, really high. Obviously, still high here. BNB, even high in this year, but in the previous kind of years, BNB has actually done very, very well in the bear market, as proven by this chart. So when you're looking at all these sort of different assets, it's important to know what they're doing. And you can see again, same sort of time frame when they're very, very high. And then when you look at the other side of it, when you look at the 3-day time frame and you just look at this indicator, well, it's telling you one thing and one thing only, right? That when these are trending down, it's getting interesting, right? So every single time it does a certain thing, it will get very, very interesting. So when you see this trending up now, what's happening? Well, we're dropping significantly, right? So it's very, very interesting to keep an eye of, right? So where do we go next? You need to understand the trend, right? When this is going up, your Satoshis on most of your assets will be going down, right? There are individualisms in this where certain things will do better. Like example, BNB before did very well in the bear market. You need to look at each individual asset. However, for the most part, you look at your portfolio and thinking, oh my God. When it's going down though, you're going to start noticing your Satoshis are going up. So in this period here, if you remember, from January, December 2021, all the way down to May, it was an absolute mad run for altcoins, if you remember. We had a correction, and then we had the second run here, and then we had another correction, and then we had the final blow off when you think of the altcoins kind of running to a certain point, and then they turned around, right? Even when BTC dropped significantly, some altcoins actually did okay for the first couple of weeks, but you didn't know that because you were looking at your USD prices, because Bitcoin, as that first sum, was dropping more. Therefore, you're looking at your portfolio thinking, I'm losing dollars. But actually, when we look back at some of these pairs here, look at even DOT, for example, right? The top of the market was obviously here. Not the greatest situations, but even still, it only dropped a little bit more versus obviously what happened with Bitcoin as it crumbled. As I said before, BNB, the top of the market was here for like Bitcoin, essentially, the November time, 2021. Well, actually, BNB carried on going up, right? That shows you the power of why the dominance chart and the BTC pairs you should be keeping an absolute note on. ADA, another example here, right? Top of the cycle for ADA was here. We melted massively. So as I say, individualisms, right? Each coin is different, but the grand scheme of things was dominance was low. Therefore, you should be taking profit, right? Dominance in September 2021. Dominance September 2021. Here, all-time low. Well, I wouldn't say all-time low. The lows from the previous. Get my idea? Good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a real-life example. I'm going to use Bybit to show you a transaction. I'm going to show you the pairs on Binance and obviously Qcoin as well, just to give you an idea. You can do this on most exchanges. Now, Bybit isn't the greatest for BTC pairs, but it's a great example to show you, right? So the reason being, what happens on every single exchange, you have the same thing where you got USD, you may have USDC, you got BTC and other pairs. This doesn't have many BTC pairs, right? Which is, it's fine, but for me, this is my main exchange. I love the Bybit exchange. So what we're going to do here, now, as I said before, you don't have to buy with Bitcoin. If you got Bitcoin, it's helpful. But if you're buying with USD, you're also buying the same relationship of that price and also the price next to it, right? Make sense? Because you're buying on the same day. I hope that makes sense. So when we're looking at this, we're going to buy at basically 22,000 Satoshis, right? Which equals $6.41 currently. We're not going to mess about. We're just going to do it a market execution. The reason why I want to show you this is because I want to show you fundamentally what happens when you press, I want to sell these higher. Increase in Bitcoin, yay. So we're going to buy a little bit of DOT. Cool, BTC, we have just bought 3.86 DOT. We're now a holder of DOT on spot. But 6 months later, a year later, we want to sell the buggers, right? Press the sell button. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You need to go to limit order, obviously. And let's just say we want to sell these at 48,000 Satoshis. We want to sell all of them. Why is this important? It's going to show you the relationship in terms of what you're going to get out of it. Basically, doubling it. So if you press the sell button here, it's hugely important to note that even though your order value and the buy-in order was much lower, you will make more BTC when you sell higher. Same as USD, right? If you buy at $1 and you sell at $2, right? Same with this. So it makes more sense. So currently we have got however much in BTC on that as an order value. That order value will change significantly when you sell, even though you're still selling the same amount of DOT. Make sense? Good. On other exchanges though, you've got this. Binance, right? If you go on to Binance and you go on the right hand side, press the BTC pair. These are all the BTC pairs you've got. You've got loads of them, right? Absolutely loads of them. Loads of them. Most things. Some BTC pairs are not active because they don't get enough volume. So when we look at stuff like Rose, for example here, right? Imagine this. You're buying at today's prices, and let's just say it does go up to, say, potentially all-time high levels of Satoshis. That is basically a 4x. So if you've got half a Bitcoin, times that by 4, that what is your new BTC that you're going to get. Hope that makes sense. Moving on to KuCoin, same thing. You've got all these different pairs, right, that you can use and utilize. Loads of them. You can see them. And a lot of them look like this. A lot of them are really low because right now, dominance is at a 2-year high or yearly highs, whatever it may be. There's so much opportunity. This is why you need to be a part of the cycles and part of the movement, because when you're in altcoins at these prices, they're low in USD and they're low in BTC pairs. You've then got flexibility to go, I can sell some of that into my BTC and create wealth, which is the next part of this video. Creating wealth. To create wealth, you need to know what you've got, right? I use Delta. Delta is a free app, what you can use. This is the alphabet. Basically, you can toggle a little bit. USD pairs, how much is worth in BTC, important, how much is worth in your native currency, and also Ethereum. When you are toggling and looking at your BTC pairs, your overall wealth should be governed by how much BTC your portfolio is worth. We are dealing in crypto here. I know for some people, you don't get it. But USD, nah, not interested. There's only certain times where you sell in USD when Bitcoin is very overvalued. Because when the BTC value is overvalued and your altcoins have gone with it, you're making more money. You sell into BTC and you also sell into USD, right? Simple, right? You split it up into whatever part you want. When BTC is overvalued, then you can sell into USD and then rebuy back low if you want to. You should always be looking at how much your portfolio is worth in Bitcoin, not USD, because there is times where BTC is smashing everything and you're up in USD, but you're actually lost a lot of money in BTC value. It doesn't make sense, right? There's times genuinely where you'd be better off holding Bitcoin than holding all your altcoins. Basically times like today. If you've been holding altcoins for the last year, you probably would be down bad. So bear that in mind. Another thing to talk about with this app as well, I mentioned it before, you don't have to buy in BTC. It records the date of what your transaction was and the price that you bought at. So if you're buying $6 on whatever day, it will also counteract that day for how much Satoshis it's worth at that day, at that time, at that hour. So it works out for you. Whatever pair, it's brilliant. So going back to how the value is worth, if you bought DOT at 18,000 Satoshis, for example, and tomorrow it's worth, well, not so much tomorrow, but 6 months later it's worth 40,000, you've still got that transaction because you bought the altcoin at that price. Make sense? Good. But as I say, the final bit of this, you need to remember when dominance is high, you need to look at buying. When it's low, you need to look at selling, right? Simple as that. The entire portfolio of what you've got in BTC is your net worth, because Bitcoin is still king. It still governs the price. It's not USD. It's the formula of the Satoshis and that Bitcoin price. Remember, if Bitcoin's overvalued, your USD prices will be up. May not always correlate between how much Satoshis you've got if BTC dominance is high. So the lower it goes, the better it is. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my stuff, leave a like, comment. I have put a video here for you to watch in a second about the indicator to fully grasp it. But yeah, that's the simple lines of it. Accumulate BTC very, very easily. It works.